Welcome back, everybody. My name is Poison Ducky, and today we're going to be looking at another Total War Warhammer 2 gameplay with me playing as Crooked Moon. My favorite faction in general is the Gobbos, and today we're going to be versing the Empire, played by Luke the Puke for you. We can see the units overhead. Let's see here. Or at least you see the unit cards. And now let's get into the battle. As my front line here, I'm going to be, this is my Gobbo town builds. I'm going to have 2 units of Night Goblin Fanatics. Now these guys are going to throw giant goblins using themselves as like propeller vortexes. I have no idea what they are. They're just spinning goblins. They're going to kill everybody. As my like vanguard, I suppose. And then I'm going to use 4 lines of just normal goblins. Now they are going to have the Renown's version of the goblins. They're going to be quite powerful, especially the Warlords boys, having armor sundering and being able to destroy any of their great swords, which I was looking for. But they didn't bring them. And I have 3 units of Night Goblin archers, of course with their poison attacks, and my armor sundering rusty arrows. As the meat of my force, I've got my Ragnarok Queen. This is going to kill everybody. It's going to be dangerous. It'll be fantastic. And the one thing I was afraid of for the Empire to bring was cavalry. So what did I bring to try to counter their cavalry? It's the Broken Tusk mob, the boys. They're going to be my anti-large. They are armored orc boy biguns, and they're very powerful, especially on a charge against other cavalry units. Now my lord, of course, is going to be the mighty Skarsnick with his pet gobbler, and I do have his little prodder. It's going to be quite powerful. And way on the flanks, I will have 3 units of Forest Goblin Rider Spider Riders. So they have poison and they have very fast, 78 speed, and they're going to... I was planning on using these to take down skirmishers, but you'll see that I use them slightly differently in this match. And just in case they brought a little bit more armor piercing and to stop charges, I brought Nasty Skulkers with their ability to stop charges and reduce everyone's speed with their smoke bomb, and I put one on each flank. Now my opponent, on the other hand, is going to give a 1 greatsword unit, which I was afraid of, but he only had 1, and the rest of his line is going to be swordsmen and spears. 2 swords, 2 spears. Very weak line overall, but he does have some crossmen covering him, and he does have 1 cannon just in case for large units. He's going to be firing at my Ragnarok Queen with that. But the main power of this Empire army is going to be his cavalry. He has a unit of Demigryph Knights with halberds, which are stellar at destroying anything that's large, including my own Ragnarok Queen, my Broken Tusk mob. This will just destroy any unit. And he has another unit of normal Demigryph Knights, not with that halberd. So these are going to be the anti-infantry with lances, and you're going to see the anti-large with halberds. Over in the force, he does have some Knights of the Blazing Sun to try to charge into my infantry and just destroy everything. And it's very clear that this Empire army has put most of his money into the cavalry. He does have 1 bright wizard here, so he's going to have the Lore of Fire. And his leader, leading the charge here, is going to be the mighty Karl Franz with his mighty hammer. All right. Now that the armies have been introduced, let's get into the fight. So my goblin forces will be pushing up aggressively, as that's what Gobbo Town does. And this is what's dangerous here. This little bright wizard has so much AoE potential against my army. I'm going to spread out my units in terms of a line. Oh no. He gets a very good burning head on my Gobbos. But he only hits 2 units, and I get some heavy fire onto his Bright Wizard. Make sure to avoid all that. Now, something I don't notice here is the Knights of the Blazing Sun coming out of the woods here. So they very, very surprised me, and I had to react very quickly to this. He has Demigryph Knights taking on the left, but these, while they are powerful, I can deal with them later. Now, the Knights of the Blazing Sun going after my archers is extremely dangerous, and I have to deal with this now. So what I do is I send my Broken Tusk mob to break their charge against my archers. They chase the archers, and they don't get their charge bonus against my Broken Tusk mob. So I get a very good engagement over here. Over here on the side, I send my Spider Goblin Riders to squish the Demigryph Knights. This is a terrible matchup for my Spider Riders, by the way. The Demigryph Knights with halberds will destroy spiders. But then I have this spider. The Arachnoid Queen is an anti-large creature and is very powerful, destroying other cavalry units or other monsters. And I have Skarsnick supporting him. And Skarsnick is an anti-large lord as well, with his halberd infantry. Taking a lot of damage from halberds, but that's to be expected. I pop my wad, that's the little green effect, so everyone is going crazy. And the Arachnoid Queen has the ability to spawn units, specifically spiders. So with that, I spawn a unit of spiders to disrupt the siege artillery from hitting my cannons. We're back into slow motion here. As you can see, looking back at the Broken Tusk mob fighting the Knights of the Blazing Sun, I have won that engagement quite... with a lot of favor on my side. Mainly because my Goblin Archers will be firing into them and poisoning them. All Night Goblin units have a poison effect, reducing their effectiveness in battle. Unfortunately, I can't save all of my goblins, and they will be charged by the Knights of the Blazing Sun in the flanks, but we can change that. Once we get rid of this area, we can go back here, and it seems that my Arachnoid Queen, while taking a lot of damage, is actually winning against this engagement. As they start to waver. Good close-up of my Arachnoid Queen. And you can see the Broken Tusk mob come to sandwich these Demigryph Knights. So it's sandwiched between two different cavalry units, one with poison and one with a major anti-large killing power. And that equals a win in this flank. Now here, back over in the front line, we can see that my goblins are going to be fighting his spear units and Karl Franz. Karl Franz is going to take on 2 units at a single time, which is going to be quite dangerous for me, as Karl Franz can literally beat almost anyone in this my army in a one-on-one fight. And it will be, unfortunately, the Great Swords with their anti-infantry and armor-piercing units stats are going to destroy goblins, but my goblins are really only there to slow them down for my other units to catch up to them. Like, oh no. Oh, did you just kick him? Man, wow. That's impressive. My spiders have successfully destroyed their artillery, so I don't have to deal with that. And the little loons. Now, these are when you have Night Goblin Fanatics, you have the ability to throw goblins holding giant maces. Well, actually more like Morning Stars, flails, and they just spin around destroying the formation of enemy units. Unfortunately, it wasn't a great one. I only caught the last part of it. We have successfully routed the enemy Fire Mage, Bright Wizard. Well, he's wavering at least, and he's not going to be of use for that much longer. The Knights of the Blazing Sun are going to still charging into my archers, and it's quite annoying. But luckily, I'm winning on every other flank here. I do have a full surround with normal Goblin Warrior. Oh no, there's another blazing skull. No, my goblins. Man, it must feel awful to think that you're losing to just these tiny little goblins. Like, what kind of morale? Like, how do you feel? Though I literally have 1 orc unit in this army, and it's just because I was afraid of the cavalry. I'm getting the Spider Riders versus the Great Swords. The Great Swords are anti-infantry. These are monstrous cavalry, so they do not get the bonus on them. Of course, Great Swords are just a really good unit overall, so they will deal a ton of damage, but at least it's a decent matchup for my Spider Riders. And finally, my Arachnoid Queen has free range over the many little infantry of the enemy Empire army. And with that, they start to mass rout due to terror. I summoned another unit of spiders to deal with their ranged crossbowmen. And there you go. It was quite a fun battle. I really like using goblins in my... I realize I'm pretty much ignoring half of the roster of the Greenskin army, but goblins, there's just something funny about killing an entire enemy and beating people in multiplayer with a goblin army. Now let's end this replay and see at the efficiency of my units. As you can see, I deployed 1,417 units. I pretty much double the numbers that the Empire brought. So they had to be extremely efficient at taking me out. I lost 700 and they lost 461. So I had 700 remaining and he had 300, so not very efficient. Let's look at my unit kills here. I would say one of my Not Goblin fanatics got 126 kills, which is really amazing. Like, no one expects that many kills from a Goblin unit. We have 33, 56, fantastic. One of my nasty Skulkers gets 60 kills, probably a good flank. Let's see here, the Warlords boys. My archers did not get many kills here because the Knights of the Blazing Sun were essentially just cycle charging them and destroying them, putting a lot of pressure on them. But with that, the Broken Tusk mob did their job and took out most of the enemy cavalry. And along with the work of the Ragnarok Queen, it was fantastic. And using these Forest Goblin Spider Riders, I got to sandwich them in. Although these guys got very few kills, in fact 3, 5, and 6, that's awful. It's the ability to stop their mobility that was very crucial in allowing my Broken Tusk mob to charge in and my Ragnarok Queen to do work. And even though Skarsnick only did 9 kills, it was 9 kills of the Demigryph Knights, which is a very high value target. Overall, Karl Franz getting 80 kills, probably just a bunch of goblins, not too amazing for him. 41, 43, 38. The Great Swords paid off greatly with 193 kills, but just not enough. The Knights of the Blazing Sun, 93, probably this is the one unit that got into my archers. And the other one, this was the one that was probably caught by the Broken Tusk mob. The Demigryph Knights did well. 75 kills, 47. They just didn't do well enough. I just had too many numbers. He had to be much more efficient. His magic was good. It's just he missed a few of my. He missed a lot of opportune movements to hit a lot of my units, and that's what brought his downfall. And his ranged units, his crossbowmen, were not used effectively, as I did have spawned units in his backline to stop them. And the cannon did absolutely nothing. Got killed by mere spiders. Overall, he should have done a better job protecting his backline units and definitely microed his cavalry better and taking out my archers and maybe cycle charging into the back of my front line. That probably would have been a better deal with him. Well, if you liked the video, please leave a like or subscribe. If you want more, I have plenty of Total Warhammer 2 coming up. Well, catch you later, guys.